What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, today is Monday, which means Monday Mail Day. I got my drink with me. Let's get into some questions. Thank you to everybody that submitted questions, and let's keep this thing rolling. We'll get right into it. All right. First question comes from King Kawane. Yo, Ego, what do you think about Triple G possibly losing to another fighter before the Canelo fight gets to happen? What would the backlash be if the Danny Jacobs fight happens in December? What do you think the chances are? Now, that's a very good question, and it'll look bad for Canelo, right? And that's just because everyone wanted to see the fight. So if he loses to Danny Jacobs or somebody else in the meantime, then that's a mega fight out the window where no one's going to care. It reminds me of, since you asked that question, reminds me of Yuriorkis Gamboa versus Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia, there was this big spiel. See, I follow boxing. I've been covering and doing this for a while. But there was a big thing after, I think Mikey Garcia beat somebody, Juanma Lopez or something, and Gamboa came into the ring, and then they had them both, and everybody on Instagram and on YouTube was making videos about how they had this face-to-face confrontation. That was the hot fight at that time, or one of them. And bottom line is, Mikey Garcia, after that point, he had promoter issues, and it didn't look like his team really wanted the fight right away. Gamboa was an undefeated Olympian, and fast forward to the future, he ended up fighting Terence Crawford. After Crawford got a title, Crawford went back home to Omaha, fought Gamboa, and then he ended up dropping him a bunch of times and knocking him out in a competitive fight. Don't get me wrong, Gamboa, I had him winning like the first 5 rounds, and Crawford had to make adjustments in there because Gamboa's speed and power and stuff, athleticism, rhythm, was bothering Terence Crawford earlier. And to this date, I talked to Crawford at his last fight. He said that was his toughest fight with Gamboa. So shout out to Gamboa. But it just puts me in the mindset of that, where Mikey Garcia was the one, he was the undefeated fighter, Gamboa was undefeated, and you let another undefeated fighter in the form of Terence Crawford beat the guy that everybody had linked to you. Now, to this point, we don't really see Gamboa. He did an interview, shout out to my dude Dante's Boxing Nation, did an interview with him recently, but we don't know when he's coming back, and you know what I mean, we don't know if he's the same since that. So I don't know how many people are anxious to see the Mikey Garcia fight now. I mean, I would definitely watch it, but it doesn't have the same allure and luster as if it were to happen when it should have. Same thing with Golovkin. If he loses to somebody not named Canelo, then people will still tune in to a Canelo Golovkin fight, but it's not going to be as big. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Some people will probably say Mayweather versus Pacquiao too. Marquez slept Pacquiao, knocked him out. So for a lot of people, that was the fight that kind of like, now the Mayweather fight, he just got knocked out. Pacquiao got knocked out. So it is what it is. As far as Jacobs' chances, I would favor Golovkin. Golovkin's kind of hard to bet against at 160. So I would favor Golovkin. But I'll get to that fight more because some of the questions I selected were asking that. So I don't want to steal the thunder for some of those other questions. So hopefully that answers you. And then let's move on. Next question is from Hamza Hussein. Who wins, AB versus Bradley? I would pick. That's tough because a lot of people hate Broner, so they don't give him credit. That's a tough fight because Bradley is a great boxer, puncher. Sometimes he fights a dangerous fight. That, to me, that's at this point. If you would have asked me a couple years ago, I would have said Bradley hands down. But at this point, I don't know. I think that's kind of a 50-50 fight. Broner's pretty big for 147. Bradley's not the most powerful guy. And the thing about it is Bradley's clearly the better boxer to me. Well, I can't even say that. But I would say fundamentally, I don't know, because Broner has some skills in there. But he lets his hands go more and stuff like that. But the problem is Bradley's temperament. Sometimes I've seen him on multiple occasions where he fights a fight that he shouldn't be fighting. Like he gets frustrated like off of emotion, where he starts fighting Pacquiao all crazy and trying to knock him out, and then he ends up gassing out and not looking the same in the second half of the fight, or rolling his ankles because he didn't wear socks, things like that. You know what I mean? Same thing with Broner. Broner struggles more so with pressure fighters, right? And I know Bradley, he can mix it up. His mix-up game is on point. Like he can box and brawl, But I've seen, I don't know. That's a good fight, man. I don't know. Sometimes I question Timothy Bradley's temperament because he usually puts himself into a more dangerous fight. Like, he was clearly beating Diego Chavez, outboxing him, and then he got kind of, I don't know if Diego Chavez is a lefty, but there was a clash of heads because he was, I don't know. It just, I think he started getting so aggressive, and I don't know. It just, his head looked like his injury looked worse and worse by the end of that fight. He looked like a goblin or something. So that's a 50-50 fight. Other thing you have to look at is Bradley post 2 Pacquiao losses. Where's his confidence at? He's kind of been chilling, but a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, Bradley, he's clearly the better boxer," but Broner has skills. You know what I mean? And the thing that I've seen that beats Broner hands down is pressure fighters, right? And I don't know if at this point Bradley is that much of a pressure fighter. I know he can be, but I don't know against someone that's like athletic and hand speed. I don't know. That's a 50-50 fight. I really don't know who I would pick at this point. Again, if you would have asked me like a couple years ago, I clearly would have picked Bradley, but I don't know. Broner looks like he's trying to let his hands go a little bit more in recent memory. That's one of my problems with Broner. He's too economical with his punches, and he's like posturing. It's like he's doing it for show. So I don't know. It's a tough fight. Second part of your question: if Floyd came back, who fights him? Triple G, Garcia, Conor McGregor? Oh, you got a lot of questions. I think Garcia would be the most likely option. He said no to Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor has a boss, different discipline, so I think that's harder to make. I don't think he'll fight Triple G. Triple G should probably be looking up instead of looking down. He's already looking down at one person, which is Canelo. I know Floyd, from what it sounds like, him telling Triple G he should fight Andre Ward first. You know what I mean? To me, that sounds like he doesn't respect the level of hype that Triple G is getting. Like, he doesn't feel he's accomplished enough. You can hear it when he's talking. He says, "Oh yeah, Triple G, he's good, he's cool, he's strong, no special effects." You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he will give Triple G that type of payday. Plus, this is my personal opinion, I don't even want to see Floyd versus Triple G unless it's at 160. You know why? Because Triple G didn't look good at the weigh-in for the Kell Brook fight, and that was at 160. Oh, he's a small middleweight and all this, but he didn't look good. And they said he wasn't sick, so I don't know what happened. But whatever reason, he didn't look great at the weigh-in. So I do not want to see Golovkin fight somebody at 154 or 155 because I think he would look wasted on the scale. And then it's just too convenient of a scapegoat for if Floyd beats him and Golovkin starts looking like shit or like lethargic or less powerful, then people will say, "Oh, it's just because he's drained." So unless it's going to happen at 160, which it clearly wouldn't, then I don't really want to see it. That's my opinion. Who wins, Verdun or Kane? Winner fights Stipe, but John Jones goes in there with Miocic. It's not fair, ego, because he didn't earn it. Damn, you got a lot of questions. Who beats Crawford at 140 to 55? I have to, for the pacing, I'm gonna have to try to wrap up your questions. I don't know. I don't know who beats Crawford. I had to see how he looks at 147, to be honest. I don't think anyone beats him at 140. 155, again, he rehydrates to about 155, 160 maybe. But I have to see more from Crawford. He's hell of a talent. I'd have to see how he looks moving up even 7 pounds, because he has the frame height to do it, but he's kind of like long and skinny paws. And I don't know how he's going to do, because some of them welterweights like Kell Brook and Errol Spence, those guys are big. So I don't know. I think I don't think that's happening for any time soon unless it's Crawford versus Pacquiao. So we don't have to worry about that too much. Next question is from Dio Lee. Not asking for a prediction, but since Triple G Jacobs are in talks for a fight, what skill or attributes does Jacobs have that would give Triple G Golovkin problems and vice versa? I mean, Golovkin's, I'm going to go through his first because it's apparent. Golovkin has power. He has very nice with placing his shots, good accuracy. He's normally a good counterpuncher. The reason I say normally because I wasn't really impressed with his counterpunching ability. He was missing and whiffing a bunch of shots versus Kell Brook. But normally against a guy like Daniel Gill and guys like that, he's good with counterpunching. But I don't know. That's really what Golovkin's good at cutting off the ring, things like that. Jacobs that could give him problems. Jacobs' power. Jacobs is also a powerful guy. He's also athletic. So I think Golovkin would have to respect the athleticism and the power of Jacobs. And more importantly, those two mixed with Jacobs he looks like a full 6 foot tall, right? He's 6 foot tall. So unlike the David Lemieux, another power guy, he would have to get off that consistent jab Golovkin would against a taller fighter with power, right? And I think after the Kell Brook performance, guys are looking at Golovkin as a little bit more on what they need to do to beat him versus when David Lemieux fought him. You know what I mean? Every fight you have to look at how a person's progressing. Golovkin has no head movement, right? So I'm sure guys that are powerful or have some power, Billy Joe Saunders, Chris Eubank, Danny Jacobs, guys like that are probably feeling like, man, I can hurt this guy with my power. I mean, whether they can accomplish that remains to be seen. But those are the attributes that I see that could give each other the problems. Golovkin's are pretty consistent no matter who he fights. It's really the power and the amount of pressure that he puts on top of you. If you can't deal with that, you're out of there. Good body shots too. For Jacobs, his height, his power, and Jacobs is a good finisher. He knows if he has you hurt, he knows how to stay on top of you to the point where you can't recover, i.e. Sergio Mora, i.e. Peter Quillin. You know what I mean? Peter Quillin, some people complain about the stoppage at the point. I even did. I was like, man, that was kind of weird. But watching it again, Peter Quillin was out of there. You know what I mean? He was so buzzed and rattled. And luckily, Peter Quillin is as big as he is. That's why he was able to probably be on his feet after all that. But Jacobs is good. He has that Brooklyn Rumble or whatever they call. And that'd be very interesting to see how Golovkin deals with that. If for some reason, even though I would favor Golovkin in the Jacobs fight, like I said, for some reason, Jacobs clips him with power and then jumps on top of him. I want to see how Golovkin responds to that because I don't think he's really used to that. He's used to guys hitting him and then backing off. You know what I mean? So I want to see those different situations. Those are like mandatory that I must see how fighters deal with certain things. Like, and Golovkin, people are going to get mad, but I don't care because it's my channel. I'll do whatever I want, say what I want. But the biggest thing is for the amount of hype or whatever you want to call it, exposure, praise that Golovkin's getting, we really haven't seen him in there with people that have presented these certain things to show what he's really and truly made of. And it's crazy because I can't think of any other fighter who we know is elite that, or was elite at some point, that have never been through these same type of the ringer and been through, like Floyd Mayweather. I've seen him hurt. DeMarcus Corley hurt him. Zab Judah hurt him, right? Maidana hurt him with that single punch in the rematch, stuff like that. So I seen how he bounces back. When Mayweather was in there with Zab Judah, a guy who was probably slipperier, slicker, faster than him, he had to adjust. Pacquiao versus Eric Morales, when he didn't have the gloves that he initially wanted, the clitoris. It sounded like he said clitoris instead of clitoris. He's like, I did not have my gloves. I had clitoris. I'm like, what? You talking about Jinky? What are you talking about, clitoris? But anyway, so that was one thing. He didn't have his gloves. He had a bad cut, and it seemed like it bothered him. But those things show me what the fighter will do in those situations. Mayweather had a bad cut versus Maidana, a very aggressive guy who's bigger than him and outweighed him, who's unorthodox, who was throwing everything but to the kitchen sink, overhands, rugged, hit you with nut shots, all that. And I seen how Floyd was able to fight off the ropes and stuff like that. Even Canelo versus Shane Mosley. He had a nasty cut. Some of you guys don't even remember that fight, but he had blood leaking and he looked pissed and bothered about the cut. And it was before Mayweather. When he fought Mayweather, Canelo was 23, so Mosley happened probably a few years younger, so he was probably 21, 20. You know what I mean? This is all off the top of my head, people. So I've seen all these fighters. Cotto, I've seen him when he's leaking or when he has to avenge a loss to Margarito or this and that. What's the dude, the Torres fight with Cotto? It looked like Cotto was out of there. I think even DeMarcus Corley almost had Cotto out of there. But I've seen him bite down and come back to beat those guys and or stop them. So with Golovkin, based on his limited talent pool, we haven't really seen him not have his way. Like plan A seems to be working, and that's cool. But I know for a fact, I watched boxing far too long. Plan A is not gonna always get it done. You will find somebody where that plan A is not it. You know what I mean? You're going to have to adjust, and the only way you get that is through time and fighting the right people. You know what I mean? You can be as dominant as you want, but there will be someone who has your number. Pacquiao, Marquez, or look at Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera. Those guys pushed each other to the brink and brought out the best of both of those fighters. There was national pride was on the line, or like what set you claiming, Tijuana, Mexico City. You know what I mean? And those types of fights will bring the best out of you. And I'm still waiting for that for Golovkin. I'm waiting for the level of opposition that has enough of the right attributes to counteract what he does good, right? Because again, I've seen some of the most skillful fighters in the entire world, and not every single fight was an easy fight. I refuse to believe that Golovkin is just this machine. The bottom line is he's not in a stacked division. He's fighting who he can, fighting 3 to 4 times. That's great. But until I see him do what he's doing, the things he's doing against known elite guys, Carl Froch, you can say, oh, Froch retired, whatever. I have to see it. Froch, Andre Ward, guys, Gilberto Ramirez even like just somebody who has a height advantage over him. Someone who has a power advantage. Someone who's going to outweigh him with some skill. You know what I mean? Because you have to have the right to beat Golovkin. It's not going to be easy. You have to have the right formula. You can't just be tall like Ishida. He was tall. You know what I mean? He's taller than Golovkin. He had no pop. He had no power at 154. So he didn't have no power when he moved up to 160. And I know some of you guys, oh, but Ishida fights at heavyweight. That's now. He fights at heavyweight now. And he still ain't doing shit. You know what I mean? So, and I don't care what he later went on to do. Again, he's tall, but it doesn't do nothing. Mark Murray's bigger than Golovkin, but he also lost every single one of his big fights. You tell me one big fight Martin Murray won. You can't say even Sergio Martinez. I think he should have won, but he didn't get it. He didn't get the victory, and they didn't count a knockdown as a slip. So he never got to live like a champion in the confidence that you would receive from actually having that belt around your waist at the end of the fight, right? Felix Sturm, a draw. Lost to George Groves, Arthur Abram. Like, who is he beat? He lost to everybody. So, bottom line, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I think we were supposed to be talking about Jacobs, Golovkin, but the bottom line, we just have to see Golovkin tested. I don't know if Jacobs is the man to do that, but I'll give Golovkin tons of props if he blows through Jacobs. Easy work. I really will. You guys can mark this timestamp in the video, but that's a great fight. That's why I want to see it so much, because Jacobs has ability and height, and he has power. He knocked out Quillen in 1 round, so if Golovkin can go in there and smoke him, then all the praise and props in the world to Golovkin for that performance. It's that simple. Next question is from W Blake 22. In Molina last fight against Provodnikov, he weighed 160 or over. Would that weight be too much for Garcia if they do fight? It's tough telling, because I remember they talked about that on Showtime where the fight was televised, and he said he weighed in with his cell phone and keys and like now laters and all types of stuff in his pocket. He had street clothes and jeans on. So I don't know how much he really weighed. I don't know if he was saying that to save face. I don't know if that was really his game plan. He really came in 160. So I don't know. Garcia, I mean, if you're elite, you got to get it done. If he wants to stay undefeated, he's going to have to. You can't be like, oh, that's too much weight, because again, how many times has Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather fought bigger guys? Floyd versus Ortiz, Floyd versus Maidana, Canelo, De La Hoya. These guys are all Cotto. They're all bigger mass-wise than Floyd. They all rehydrated, probably like 165 or better. You know what I mean? Same thing with Pacquiao, Margarito. This is a dude coming up from 106. So Danny Garcia has to figure it out. And stylistically, he should do well with a come forward guy. That's what he seems to like, so you can't just blame it on the weight. Next question is from Daniel Rodney. What do you think about Bud unifying the belts at 140? I love it. I can't think of anyone that beats him at 140. And this is going to surprise some people. I think Broner would probably be his biggest test at 140. I know some of you guys would be like, oh, and I'm a huge Crawford fan. I went to Omaha to see him. I went to Vegas to his last fight to see him. Huge fan. But I know how styles make fights, and I know Broner and Crawford, they both have like an African American style where I can, they're street dudes too, you know what I'm saying? So I could tell if they fought, it'd be some shit talking, and it would be it would bring the best out of him because it'd be very competitive. No one wants to, like, if Crawford landed a 2-piece, Broner's going to want to try to get him back with something. Trust me on this one. Trust me. Now, I don't care if you favor Crawford over Broner, but I'm telling you, that would probably be the toughest. Put it this way. I'll bet a stack that the Broner fight, and a lot of people hate Broner, so they're not going to, oh, you don't know shit. I bet a stack that Broner versus Crawford, if they do fight at 140, is far more competitive than Victor Postal. Styles make fights, I'm telling you. And I would probably favor Crawford, but I'm just telling you, that would be his toughest fight. Out of all the opponents that I've seen at 140 right now, that's his toughest fight. A lot of people aren't going to agree because they hate Broner or because he threw change in Walmart. Maybe, all that. I'm telling you, you guys believe whatever you want, but that would be a tougher fight than a lot of people. You have to see, and people wonder how I get my predictions pretty accurate a lot of times. It's because I take all the emotion out of it. You know what I mean? If I love watching this guy fight, he's one of my favorite, I take all that out of it, and I take it to the bare essentials of this style versus this style. He does this well, he does this well. This guy has this deficiency, and this guy has this, like, positive, and you know what I mean? It's like a pros and cons list type of thing, right? And I know Crawford versus Broner, I doubt it will happen, but if it does happen at 140 anytime soon, where, and I'm not saying if Broner loses 3 or 4 fights or something and then he fights, I'm talking about if it happens with Broner, like his current record right now, something under those terms, then that's a tough fight. Next question, Ferg FTW. Hola Ego, what do you think is next for Klitschko? Seems like he got the raw deal from Fury. Hashtag stay away from snakes. I don't know. I mean, I feel bad for him. He's 40 years old. He wants to avenge his loss. He feels probably embarrassed for his performance, and he can't do that because Tyson Fury doesn't like that he's been crucified or this witch hunt or whatever, and he fell into a depression. So that's not really, I'm not trying to sound unsympathetic, but that's not really Klitschko's deal. He's just trying to get his belts back. You know what I mean? He's a long-standing champion. So I just, at the end of the day, I just feel bad for Klitschko because he's just like kind of a victim of this. He can't control, he didn't create the witch hunt. He didn't create whatever Tyson Fury's camp is like notioning as far as why he's angry. You know what I mean? Klitschko didn't do this. He's not responsible for the public backlash or the outcry or people not respecting Fury as a champion or whatever he's going through right now. And then I gotta add this too. Some people are gonna get mad, but again, this is my channel. You guys are here by your own free will. I'm not soliciting you. It's funny to me, not funny like ha ha funny, but just it's crazy because you look at certain fighters like Floyd Mayweather, right? Why you bring up Floyd? Because I fucking want to, right? You look at Floyd. After he beat Pacquiao, the word nigger it was a trending word or whatever, hashtag or whatever, right? You look at his posts, oh, you ruined boxing, you suck. Oscar De La Hoya writing these letters to him saying, oh, yeah, Floyd, stay retired, you suck, you're boring. Oh, he's a runner. You know what I mean? After he did crazy things in the sport, like he beat Pacquiao after 5 years, he thought that would really shut people up. There were no discussions on who won that fight, you know what I mean, other than a couple of desperate people saying, hey, watch it in slow motion after you fucked your girl and drank ginger ale and did a couple of handstands. I'm like, no, I'm not doing all that. I never did that to watch a fight. I'm not going to start now. But I think Floyd, he got, you know what I mean, he never got fully embraced. You know what I mean? He represented the United States of America, and they say he's a runner, he's a bitch, he's a pussy. He offers to fight Pacquiao, but he wants it under even playing field with a drug test. They said he's scared for even notioning that. And then when a lot of people started later getting busted for drugs and peds and stuff like that, then they're like, oh, this makes sense. They didn't give Floyd the credit for it, and they gave it to other people like Nonito Donaire is doing year-round testing, like he created this. All them dudes was doing the drug testing after Floyd. He was like pretty much boxing's pioneer who ushered in the Olympic style drug testing, and now everyone else gets credit and they don't even give him credit. But I said that to say this: as much as Floyd has been crucified in the media, oh, he's a wife beater. I mean, look at Ruben Guerrero. What kind of press conference is that? My son, he's a warrior. You guys like this guy? Woman beater? Yeah, woman bullshit, baby. Woman beater, baby. Like, you know what I mean? He's doing all this, and you don't even know all the facts. But the point is, Floyd must be mentally tough as fuck because Tyson Fury's been He defeated Klitschko not even a year ago. Almost a year. It's real close. But not even a full year ago. And now he's already mentally breaking down and falling apart. Or Eddie Hearn saying, oh, I don't know if he'll ever fight again. I don't know how bad it is. I mean, I wish him a speedy recovery. But it's crazy to me because this type of behavior for a lot of certain fighters that you don't like, Cubans, black fighters or whatever, not you personally, but whoever, this is normal. You know what I mean? A lot of, oh, he ran like a bitch. Oh, marathon. Oh, you're a ballerina. Terence Crawford sucks. He ran versus Postal. Andre Ward, he's a diva. He could fight 3 times this year and they still call him inactive Ward. So, you know what I mean? This kind of witch hunt that people are talking about, this happens to black people all the time. Not just black people, but I do see it a lot of times with African American fighters. So it's crazy to me that Tyson Fury, and I don't know what he experienced or what people are saying, but here's another black athlete, Timothy Bradley, right? Desert Storm. He beats Pacquiao. I don't think he won that fight, me personally. I thought Pacquiao beat him all 3 times, me personally. But I'm not the judge. The judges in Vegas seen it Bradley's way. They gave him the fight. He's getting death threats. Hey, you. Hello, it's Bradley. I'm gonna fucking kill you and your fucking babies and your dead meat when I see you. Like, hello? Like, they're sending him death threats because he beat Pacquiao. I don't even. That takes a level of audacity. Like, how do you even get a celebrity's phone number? Like, hello, you motherfucking, you monkey. I'm gonna kill you and your family. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. You have to put a little bit of work in. Because I try to interview fighters and I don't have all their numbers, you know what I mean? And you have their number and you doing dumb shit with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy to me that this unraveling of Tyson Fury, because this mental anguish, there's a lot of fighters that deal with this ongoing. You know what I mean? Oh, you ain't shit. Oh, you Cuban bitch. Oh, you're a runner. You know what I mean? There's a lot of fighters deal with this all the time. And some of them have brilliant performances and get it. Rigondeaux, perfect example. Brilliant performance over Nonito Donaire. And for the record, the video is still up. New media, you guys know how I do it. I have a video back when my channel wasn't really shit. I definitely didn't have this many subscribers. I picked Donaire. I don't know if it's because he's from the Bay and I'm from the Bay, but I just thought he would be too big, too strong. I said in the video, I think Rigondeaux's chin is suspect. I did not think Rigondeaux, I thought he was too small. I didn't think he would win. I predicted Nonito Donaire to win. So I was wrong. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. I'm like, wow, he looked good out there. He had Donaire backpedaling with his hand over his eye in the 12th round. And me and a few handful of other people celebrated Rigondeaux after that performance. But look at what Top Rank and Bob Arum did. Oh, HBO wants to vomit every time we mention Rigondeaux. And he sucks and HBO hates him and they want to slap him. You know what I mean? Just crazy stuff. So it's just crazy to see that whatever Tyson Fury is going through, because a lot of people that go through this and it's just a routine thing. That's my little rant. Let me know what you guys think of that. I know some of you guys are going to get mad, but again, it's my channel. Next question, Chris Willis. What's up, Ego? How do you see Easter Jr. against the top guys at 135 and 40? Also, do you see Broner taking a Crawford fight before he leaves the 140? I talked a little bit about Crawford Broner. It's boxing. I hope. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not up to me. If it was up to me, a lot of these fights would have been made. But I hope he does. I hope Top Rank works with Al Heyman in this next coming up year. Squash all that dumb shit. Squash the beef. Make the fight happen. So I hope. As far as Easter, I'm gonna limit your conversation to 135 because I have to get back on track because I sidetracked. So I'm not gonna really talk about 140, but Easter Jr., there's a lot of great fights for him at 135. There's a guy, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but he's in talks to possibly face Mikey Garcia. He's actually a beast. It starts with a Z or something. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's a beast. He's heavy-handed. He has pretty good technique and stuff like that. That would be a tough fight. I would actually, even though I like Jorge Linares, I think he's a great boxer, I would pick Robert Easter to stop him. I really feel confident in that. And I liked how Linares looked versus Corolla, but Robert Easter showed me some things versus Richard Comey. And I don't know if Jorge Linares would, because like I seen little things, like in the past I seen Linares unravel when the going got real tough, and you know what I mean, you're in the trenches And that's kind of what Robert Easter showed me in the Comey fight. It was a dog fight, you know what I mean? This was like a fight of the year type. And Richard Comey had a 92% knockout ratio. So I think the constant pressure, the height and stuff of Easter Jr., he'll stop Linares. But a lot of good fights. I love Easter versus Mikey Garcia. Mikey said he fought at 140 as a comeback fight, feel good fight. Now he's going back down to 35. I love that fight. That's one of the fights, mark my words, I already talked about on my Instagram like 2 months ago. I did a little side-by-side. People were going crazy on, oh, Mikey's too technical and he'll stop him. And then About Billions, they have an Instagram page. They got on my post and they were like, man, fuck you, Mikey. Easter will beat him. And it was going down. But I'm telling you, that's a fight to watch for, because I can see that brewing. So that's my thoughts. Easter Jr., there's a lot of good fights, and it's good because when Broner and Crawford were in the division at 35, after they beat a couple guys, there weren't really any names that people cared to see him fight. I also thought about this the other day. What if Broner, when he was running through guys at 135, what if he fought Easter Jr. some kind of way? I know they're friends and About Billions, but that would have been a good ass fight. Broner versus Easter Jr. at 135, because Broner was shutting shit down, and I want to see how he deal with a tall fighter like Easter and stuff like that. Next question, Jack C3D. Based on his style, do you personally think that Jacobs has a chance of beating Triple G? Everyone has some level of a chance. I would favor Golovkin, like I said earlier in this video, but he certainly has a chance based on his power, athleticism, and he just can't fight scared. If he fights scared, and I don't know how his chin, you know what I mean, he does have the stoppage, whereas Golovkin doesn't, but if he applies a mad amount of pressure and is in the best shape of his life, he could possibly pull the upset. That's the type of fight, like I said, that will get me to try to leave the West Coast to go see that fight on the East Coast, where they're talking about making it in New York. So don't be surprised if I'm out there. I love the fight, so props to whoever wins that one. Next question is FIFA Magician. Ego, do you think Floyd will beat Triple G at 152, 155? I think he probably would at 152, 155, because I don't think that's Golovkin's best weight. I don't think he can make it, because again, if Golovkin, there's all these people at 154, right? Lada, Demetrius Andrade, Canelo, you know what I mean, up until, yeah, he was fighting at 155. Cotto, and he didn't want to fight none of them at 155. So to me, that shows him and his team are full of it, and they can't make that weight. They were only willing to do it to hope they could pull off the upset versus Floyd, and if they can, then that helps their star power, and if they can't, they still got a massive payday. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm not even entertaining that fight, because I think I don't like that. I don't like that. To me, that's the quintessential of cherry picking. You'll go to 155 to only fight Floyd Mayweather, who is a guy who moved up 5 divisions. But guys who haven't moved up 5 divisions, maybe moved up 2, like Canelo or Cotto, who moved up 4, you don't want to fight them there. Or Demetrius Andrade, who probably been at 154 most of his career. You know what I'm saying? So I can't respect that. Who wins? Errol Spence Jr., Danny Garcia? I would pick Errol. You guys are doing a lot of prediction questions, but again, I got to speed this video up because I got some other things to work on. And I don't like doing the prediction questions too much on the Monday Mail Day, especially if it's not a fight that looks like it's in the near future but not made. So I'm gonna skip. I gotta skip around a little bit today because I'm kind of pressed for time. Next question, Matthew Busby. Ego, what are your top 5 favorite prospects worldwide? Ooh, this is gonna be, I didn't plan this. This is all a freestyle video, so I don't even know who's in the prospect stage. But the guys that I'm really checking for that aren't getting the level of attention that they deserve, that I really like: Errol Spence Jr., Oscar Valdez, Caleb Plant. Who else? I need 2 more. Who else is there? Robert Easter Jr. 1 more. Somebody who's just looking. Ooh, I can't think of an additional person. I might have to come back to it later in this video. I can't think of an actual someone else who I would consider a prospect. That's just yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on the 5th one. I can't think of a fifth prospect. Because I wouldn't say Anthony Joshua is a prospect at this. He's like a defending champion. He's someone I'm checking for. Oscar Valdez. I mean, I like Lomachenko, but I don't consider him a prospect. So I guess I would say Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, probably like that. Michael Connellan, you know what I mean? Some of the Olympians. That last one kind of stumped me. Next question is Hen R. You guys see the name. I'm not gonna. Yo, Ego, what happened with your Ego impressions videos on Facebook? I still do them. You got to follow me on Instagram at Boxingego, because sometimes I just get lazy and I don't post what I posted on Instagram on there. And then I've been putting some of them on in the YouTube videos too before the video actually starts. So yeah, I still do them. But if you want them hot and ready like the Little Caesars pizza, follow my Instagram, because that's where I usually post them first. Next question, Mr. Ibrahim. Ego, who do you think is the best welterweight now? I'll say Pacquiao still, because he's active. But next to that, I would say Errol Spence Jr. And the reason I have to put Pacquiao there, because I can't prove what I've seen about Errol Spence. The truth will be told in time, just like his nickname. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have the resume to back what I'm saying. But I just, from a who can beat him at 47 perspective, I think he's that dude. Next question, Ray Valero. What do you think of Joshua versus Parker? I did a video about it. I love the fight. It's a good fight. I respect Joshua, to be honest. His last 4 opponents have been undefeated. Parker's undefeated. So if he gets past his next fight, I think next week, then that'll be his 5th consecutive undefeated fighter. Who's doing that? That's a champion. Fighting 5 undefeated people that are ranked in the top 20 probably. You know what I'm saying? Top 15. Is the timing going to affect Parker because he has a fight October 1st and the Joshua fight is scheduled for November 26th? No, I think, to be honest, that's this new school of boxing. The Sugar Ray Robinson and dudes like that, they used to fight sometimes with 2 weeks in between fights. You know what I mean? Every 2 weeks and stuff like that. So this new school of boxing has made it where you see champions like Danny Garcia, who fights in January, and then we don't know when he's fighting next, and it's already almost October. You know what I'm saying? So that's more so this new school. But if these fighters, as long as they didn't start boxing too late, and a lot of them have been in the amateur circuit, went to the Olympics and stuff like that, they're used to fighting frequently. You know what I'm saying? It's the boxing and the politics and the promoter issues and putting together cards and stuff that makes it. But that's plenty of time for him to be ready. He's young enough. He's not taking, Joseph Parker ain't taking no type of damage, like severely, you know what I mean? He's never been stopped or anything like that. So he has plenty of time. And if anything, it might help him, because he already had a training camp and practice makes permanent. So I don't think that'll be an issue if he loses to Joshua. I don't think it'll be the quick turnaround. And again, this is what fighters used to do all the time. Have a month in between fights or less. Next question, Noel Gill on Bad Left Hook Facebook page. They got a story up about PBC going downhill. What's your take on it? Would you happen to know more info? I can't see PBC fading away anytime soon if they handle it right. Keep up the good work, bro. I mean, the reason I haven't made a video, 1, I've been busy, but 2 is this is all speculation, and all this speculation has been done for, they've been doing it since the inception of PBC. You know what I mean? Seeing is believing. Like that's the type of school I'm from. Like you can speculate all day, but a lot of PBC people, they hate PBC. They don't cover PBC fights, and these are the people writing articles. You know what I mean? How you gonna write articles talking about, oh, PBC sucks, but you won't even check them out? You know what I mean? Oh, guys like Andre Ward suck, but you don't go to his gym. You don't. He's a diva, but you don't talk to him. I talk to him. You know what I'm saying? You never even like had a one-on-one with them or anything, and that's again. So this is not a diss to anybody. You know what I mean? I'm bigger than that. I don't have to do all that. But a lot of the writers in boxing media are biased. They write more with their heart and what they want to happen, as opposed to what really is happening. Now, I'm not Weed and Waddell or Waddell and Reed or nobody like that. I'm not Sam Watson. I'm not the Watson twins. I'm none of them. So I don't know. Maybe they are going under, but I'm a boxing fan, so really, I'm gonna ride this motherfucker till the wheels fall off. If they're giving me good fights, I don't care. You know what I mean? I try my best to promote them. If they're fucking off all their money and things like that, that's beyond my control. I can just enjoy them while they're here. You know what I mean? That's as simple as that. You know, it is what it is. But I know for a fact there's a lot of people that hate PBC, and every time they do something good, they still don't give it credit for it. You know what I mean? Some people saying, oh, like I've seen comments in my videos like, man, Francisco Vargas versus Salido is the fight of the year. Not Thurman Porter. Not Richard Comey Easter Jr. Not Leo Santa Cruz versus Carl Frampton. In my honest opinion, and I'm not saying my opinion is the only one that matters, but notice how you picked Salido Vargas. For me personally, that's the fight that I remember the least out of all of them, and I watched all of those fights, right? That was the least entertaining because there was no adjustments made. It was just kind of more so rock'em sock'em robots and offense. Nobody was like really, there was no separation. You know what I mean? I can't say decisively Salido was doing so much and he pulled away from round 6 to the close. I can't say Vargas did this. It was really no separation. It was just back and forth offense. You know what I mean? Carl Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz. Leo Santa Cruz buckled in the early fight, and Carl Frampton was looking good, but then Leo Santa Cruz looked better in the second half. That's an adjustment. You know what I'm saying? You went from getting buckled in the first 2 rounds to putting punches together, and he started to slow down, Frampton. Same thing with Thurman Porter. Thurman started Sean Porter was on top of Thurman, and then Thurman blasted him in a round that Sean Porter was clearly losing. And I think round 3 or 4, Sean Porter looked pretty badly hurt, but he got saved by the bell. There wasn't that much time. And then Thurman had a really good next round. Then a couple rounds later, Sean Porter's killing Thurman's body, and he looks like he's retreating. And it looks like it could be the Collazo Part 2. You know what I mean? So that's a back and forth fight. But again, since all those fights that I mentioned have something to do with Al Heyman, Heyman Fighters, PBC, and Showtime, then they'd rather give credit to the one HBO fight that they had on regular HBO. I can literally think of probably 2 or 3 fights that they've had on regular HBO this year. Golovkin Brook, Leo, or fucking Frampton, not Frampton, what's it? Francisco Vargas, Salido, and Rocky Martinez versus Lomachenko. Those are the ones that really stick out this year. You know what I mean? And I don't care what no one says. The Salido Vargas fight was cool, but for me, it doesn't trump any of the 3 fights: Leo Santa Cruz, Carl Frampton, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, or Richard Comey and Robert Easter Jr. So again, a lot of people write with their feelings, and it's just gonna be what it is. So I do me, they can do them. If PBC's sinking like the Titanic, it is what it is. I mean, it's not gonna affect my paychecks, but I could just do my thing. But the thing is, you gotta watch who you get information from, because people have histories of doing stuff like the crazy stuff. I see articles that are written, they be like, yeah, Thurman Porter did good numbers, but it didn't do as good as the very first PBC card ever with Thurman Guerrero. You know what I mean? They're talking about Fonfara didn't do as good as Thurman Guerrero, or this fight or this fight. You know what I mean? Sammy Vasquez versus Felix Diaz didn't do better than Dateline and E.T. in like Hollywood movie. You know what I mean? They're comparing it to stupid shit. So it sounds to me more like a lot of people want them to fail. And again, if they're mismanaging their money, then that's something they got to deal with. I don't care. I'm a fan. So if they're putting on good fights, then it is what it is. So I don't have any more information on it, but I do know for a fact from reading articles and seeing people's views, this is not the first time. And it sounds like more wishful thinking than the actual truth to me, because they keep saying, oh, PBC's going down, then Thurman Porter happens, and then Carl Frampton Santa Cruz happens. Oh, PBC's going down, look at the number with Andres Fonfara, and then you have Errol Spence Jr., Leonard Bundu do $6 million, which nobody has beat this whole year. You could say you piggyback the Olympics. That's smart planning. You know what I mean? If you look at it, if you're going to a Beyonce concert, right, at the Oracle Arena in Oakland or Staples Center or wherever, Madison Square, we'll say Madison. I keep it West Coast a lot. So we'll say Madison Square Garden, Beyonce and Jay-Z are performing. then what do you see out front? People with Beyonce fucking shirts, selling them, Jay-Z shirts, CDs, hot dog stands. That's good business. Right? You know what I mean? You don't see people like, oh, you dumbass. You see all these people in line. You gonna sell hot dogs, trying to make some money. I mean, that's stupid. Of course they're gonna piggyback off the Olympics if they're on the same network. Dummy. You're supposed to. You know what I mean? That's like me. When do you guys hear my post-fight videos for fights? After the fucking fight. I don't wait a week and then tell you about, oh, you remember that fight last week with Broner? That was good. I do the video right after the fucking fight. You know why? Because that's when I'm supposed to be doing it. Because everybody is high off the adrenaline of watching it. Everyone has it fresh in their mind. So you hear the Boxingego post-fight videos immediately after the fight. As soon as I get them recorded and chopped up and uploaded, right? Same thing with Errol Spence Jr. They're supposed to piggyback. If you got it like that and you're on the same network as the Rio Olympics, by all means, you know what I mean? There's no people acting like that's cheating. So again, bottom line, a lot of people sound like they want them to fail. So that's what it is. Let me know how you think I did this week. I tried to get to a good amount of questions. I'm gonna step outside. I gotta go to the store. Make sure you hit the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.